Revolution Radio proudly presents, live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We've got a very special show for you today, as usual. We try to keep things very interesting, and it had been, I'd say probably a little bit over a month or two since I did a consciousness talk here on the radio show. So we figured December, the holiday time, so much energy around us, this would be a really good time for us to share another of the consciousness series here on the Just Bernard Show. So today I am going to be discussing with you Ascension, Alchemy. And but before we do that, I want to welcome our assistant producer and assistant empowerment director of the Global Illumination Council, who's joining me from a very cold Winnipeg, Manitoba, Reverend Trevor Nod. Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Hello. I am warm enough.
Good. I was going to say, you're staying warm up there.
Yeah. Minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit first thing in the morning isn't exactly the best.
Wow, minus 40 Fahrenheit. That's freaking cold. I can't imagine what your heating bill is going to be this month, but thank goodness we all have, most of us have heating. Wow, well, just stay warm and try to keep an upbeat vibe going, because I know how hard it is. We, too, have had some pretty nasty weather here in Virginia. I know a lot of us in the United States were affected by this ice storm, and it just really stinks when it's like gray out and icy and wet and drippy, and it's just it's hard to it's hard to get out of bed, I'll tell you that much. But with that being said, let me just make a few quick announcements before we get started on my discussion today with everybody, Ascension Alchemy. I just wanted to share with everybody and wish everybody a very, very happy holiday season. No matter what you're celebrating, it's a great time of year for parties and for being in a good mood. And I love, people are literally celebrating Festivus now, so good for you. But whatever you're celebrating, just have a great time. Enjoy yourself, connect with friends, connect with family, and just, this is the time of year to kind of like get real with yourself. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today with today's discussion. But before that, let me just share with you that because it is the holiday season, I've gone out of above and beyond our normal protocol with G.I.C. programming. Not only are we doing some really fantastic shows here on Revolution Radio, as a matter of fact, let me share those with you real quick. Coming up next week, we've got Mark Nepo. He's a wonderful author, a nationally acclaimed author. I believe he is one of the Oprah authors, and he's also a blogger with her and whatnot. But he's going to be coming on next week, and it's his new book is called Reduced to Joy, and I love that title. I think it's really awesome. But that's only going to be for the first hour, because the second hour we have our very own Terry Joyce joining me. So we're going to go from being reduced to joy to being reduced to laughter with comedian Terry Joyce joining us for the second hour next week. as well on Christmas Eve. We have a really very, very special show planned. We have Peter Sterling, harpist, consciousness leader, metaphysician, whatever it is that you would like to consider him. He's a great teacher. He's a great harp player. And he is very much in contact with his higher self, and he'll be joining us for Christmas Eve. I thought that would be an appropriate day for him, and he agreed. So thank you very much, Peter, for joining us on Christmas Eve. And then last but not least, New Year's Eve, we're going to be doing our annual kind of like a year in review. We're going to cover some of the hot topics, cover some of the ideas, what is coming in 2014, and that's going to be a really nice show. We've got Roxy Lopez, Terry Joyce, and myself going to be discussing all of these topics live here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Beyond that, I've just covered the radio shows. Let me just put it out there. We are also doing multiple video broadcasts on G.I.C. TV at thegic.org. This Thursday, I've got Chris Keller coming on. Kaler, I'm sorry. I always say it wrong. Chris Kaler is joining us. And for those of you that don't know who Chris Kaler is, he is an energetic healer. We have had him on the show here maybe about a month or so ago. He's back in the beginning of November. We had him on. And we're going to be doing a live video broadcast with him. And he's actually going to do some energy healing live on the video show. So that's going to be very interesting. And then on December 19th on GIC TV at thegic.org, of course, we've got Marco Misinato, Unfolding Secrets, a live broadcast with him. He is a documentary producer. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to premiere the documentary for Unfolding Secrets live on GIC TV. And that'll be on December 19th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, I almost forgot. Geez, let me get into the holiday stuff. So much is going on. Holiday-wise, we have December 17th, we have the GIC holiday broadcast live on the GIC.org. Again, it'll be Trevor, myself, Terry. All of us are going to be sharing holiday wishes, holiday intentions, holiday inspiration, followed by a really fun video show, a music video show of some really awesome holiday tunes, classic, new, old, and whatnot. And I've gone ahead and we've confirmed that on New Year's Eve we will be doing our sixth annual New Year's around the world with myself and everybody. It's a GIC TV New Year's Eve cyber party. It's about a 7-hour broadcast where we are bringing in the new year in multiple time zones live on GIC TV at thegic.org. And we're going to have lots of fun, typical New Year's Eve party music, everything from, I don't know, Dean Martin to Madonna, whatever it is that you like. But it'll be a really long cyber party hangout. Join the chat, have a few drinks, get a little champagne buzz going on, and we're going to bring in the new year with everybody around the world at midnight in, I believe we're going to be doing 5 or 6 time zones this year, but that is going to be a lot of fun. So, geez, I took up 6 minutes of nothing but programming. So, yes, it's a busy, busy month. I can't wait for January because I'm taking a vacation. Maybe not from Revolution Radio, but I definitely need to take a vacation from GIC for at least a week. Hint, hint, Trevor, get ready. You're taking over for a week. But yeah, it's going to be a really great holiday season. I look forward to what 2014 has to bring. As a matter of fact, let me just mention real quick. I know there's a lot of wonderful programming as well here with Revolution Radio. I know that the Santa Claus, I don't know what they're calling it. I'm so sorry, but I an awesome idea, and just check out the new programming that's coming up as well on here on Revolution Radio for the holidays. There's so much happening everywhere. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be discussing Ascension Alchemy, and the book came to me a couple months ago, and I didn't quite understand what it meant. I really didn't know what I was supposed to do with it. It came to me during a meditation. And the word alchemy has been popping into my vernacular quite a bit lately. And, of course, the word ascension has been going around now for, about 10 years. It's been all over these, whether you want to call them metaphysical, new age, light, or pagans, stuff, programming. It's a big part of the consciousness movement as far as the vernacular is concerned. So I figured we really should start this discussion today on what is this ascension that everyone is talking about. And as I share this with you, I want to remind you this is my definition, my understanding, my experience, everything that I've been researching over the last 20 years. And of course, a little bit of what everybody else is talking about as well. But to talk about ascension in today's world, it's actually right on point. We can talk about ascension into fifth dimension, which seems to be a big topic. We can talk about the ascension of consciousness. We can talk about the ascension of humanity out of corporate imprisonment. I mean, there's just so many levels to this particular word that is already happening. So I would like to clarify my definition of ascension is uh, the the general movement toward greater consciousness into humanity's full potential, and it is happening on every level. It is happening on the level again of politics, of activism, of the truth movement, of the conspiracy movement, of the activist movement. It goes on as far as what we're seeing happening around the world. People are understanding the truth. They're moving past the old paradigms, the old ideas, and they're generating rebellion and deciding, this is not where we want to be anymore. And you have to ask yourself, geez, I could do a whole show just on this word, but I'm going to try not to. You have to ask yourself, what is motivating everybody? What is this motivation? When we see the majority of activists being, let's say, under the age of 35, okay, realistically, most activists that are out there, with the bandanas wrapped around their face and, yelling at the cops and getting tear gassed and whatnot, these are pretty young people. And it's not like they've been on the planet so long that they've just said, okay, enough. Now, to add to that or to balance that out, let me just say there is, the 30, the 40, the 50 somethings that have said, okay, enough is enough. I've been seeing this going on for 20 years, 30 years, nothing changes. Enough is enough. We need to do something about it. But there is this motivation. There's almost an innate yearning to create change within all of us. And we have to ask ourselves, where does this come from? I'm going to throw out a couple of ideas, a couple, I don't want to say definitions, but a couple concepts that I've been aware of that's been happening over the last 10, 20, 30 years. We can start with the hippies if you want, but I don't think we should go back that far. Let me just say that I'm completely grateful to the hippie movement for laying down the foundation, laying down teaching us what to do, teaching us what not to do. I will say one of the things we did learn, one of the biggest things we learned with the hippie movement is that you can't be, so freaking high and actually get anything done. It was almost like there was two things going on during the hippie age, that there was the exploration of consciousness, which is very much an important part of us developing and moving into ascension. So the idea of using psychedelics or using drugs and whatnot to kind of elevate and awaken us from that 3D construct was definitely a part of it and is a part of it to this day. However, I think that with it being based in the use of drugs, there was a lot of shortcomings, a lot of obstacles that really kind of, I don't want to say helped it, but maybe led to the whole movement fizzling out very quickly, quicker than hopefully this particular movement. I don't see this particular movement changing anytime soon. We're moving on to almost 10 years now, and I'm really proud to say that it just keeps getting smarter and smarter. So with that being said, we learned how to protest, we learned how to be activists, we learned how to organize, we learned how to expand our consciousness. Thank you so much to the hippies and whatnot, the activists of the 60s and 70s. But with that being said, there was a drop. There was the 80s came in, and it was the me generation and the Ayn Rand, baloney of me, and, step on other people to get what you want. and all that stuff. And yeah, I know some of the truthers out there still worship her, but you're in the wrong, you listen to the wrong show. I believe that the 80s were a very me-oriented, very, it was a great time. I grew up in the 80s. I remember having all that extra money. I remember having all the extra drugs. I remember never getting in trouble with all the extra money and the extra drugs. And it was a lot of fun and, champagne, caviar, limousines, and hookers. It was just one of those times that it was a very acceptable way to live. The end of the disco era, moving into the new wave punk era. And we saw a kind of like a break in the movement to great consciousness. So now what we're seeing everything happening at once, everything that we learned from the 80s, everything we learned from the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and going back thousands of years, if we really want to get adamant and detailed about this particular talk. But I feel that with this, throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, one, I do believe that we do have what we call the crystal kids or the rainbow kids, moving in. What do they call it? The second or third wave of indigos moving in. We're seeing a lot of people coming in that are completely aware of everything that's going on. And I feel a lot of that has to do with these 16, 17, 18-year-olds being able to organize these, 25,000 people, demonstrations. It's like the information is already there. We are seeing alignments cosmologically. We are seeing astrological alignments. We are seeing cycles ending and beginning. The whole 2012 situation of ending of the old world, creating the new world. We're seeing the age of Aquarius coming into play. I mean, there is just so much happening at once. So this is definitely the time for Ascension to begin to take place. And as now that I've described a bit about why this time and how we got here and whatnot, let me share with you what I feel this ascension is going to be, or is. It is happening. Many people, again, on different levels. But I don't want to get into the whole quantum physics aspect of it. I mean, I'm akin to it. I understand. I'm pretty fluent in it. I am a doctor of metaphysics, but I will say it's too cerebral for some people. So let me kind of generalize what I want to say about Ascension. For me, Ascension is the place where one thing about quantum physics I want to throw in there is that we're moving out of time. Okay, 3D and 4D. I'm sorry, 4D includes time, which is kind of where we are right now. Everything has to deal with time. When you pay your bill, when you get to work, when you go to sleep, when I have this radio show, everything involves time. But as we're moving into the fifth dimension, we are able, even if it is only through our consciousness. Uh, think of the shaman. Think of the shaman who can leave the body, can travel between every plane of existence, and then you will know that you are really a shaman. So as we are moving in and out and through all of these particular planes of consciousness, we do begin to lose time. And that is where this 5D concept comes into play. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are we going to become invisible? Are we going to become uh, something that is a transcendental entity, an energetic being? I feel that we are always going to be ascending. We're always going to be moving into something new, moving into something that is greater than what we are. And what is it that is greater than what we are? It is being able to use our intuition. It is being psychic. It is being able to heal ourselves. It is the ability to astral project. A lot of people have been writing me lately how easy it is for them to do astral projection. Why is that? Because this is where we're at right now. We're moving into a time where the veils have become thinner, the planes of consciousness are no longer so much a part of so how shall we say, torn and separated from one another. The veils are definitely getting thin. Um, with that being said, let me just touch a little bit on the idea of the movie The Celestine Prophecy. If you've never seen that movie, check out the actual movie. It is a great example of what I feel the definition of ascension is, and moving into the five-dimensional awareness is. Um, in the movie, let me just give you a quick synopsis. Or if you've read the book, even better. Books are better, but if you can see the movie, see the movie. If you don't feel like reading the book, but the story is about a young man, or well, I guess young 30s or whatever, that has all these coincidences happening to him to keep bringing him into these places, and a lot of synchronicities. And I'm sure you're seeing it too. All of these synchronicities coming into play to put you at the right place at the right time, effortlessly, and sometimes kicking and screaming. I know that's what I went through. Doing what I'm doing. I'm like, really? Now I have to do this for the next, part of my life. But it's almost as if it just happens without trying, without effort. But again, going back to the movie, there's a wonderful scene in the movie where they go into the energetic form. However, they're still maintaining their physicalness. They can still see each other, but the in the film, it's like these bad priests and drug dealers or whatever, like running after them. They can't see them. So, and they see the world differently. They see the beauty of the world. They connect with the chi of the world. And I'm bringing up chi because we're going to be talking about that today. They connect with the life force. They can see the life force of the plants. They can see the life force within one another. They can connect with it. They can, I'm going to assume here, and I know maybe the author wasn't talking about this, but you can heal yourself, and we're going to talk more about that as well. But again, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I think it's a really great way to understand this whole idea of what fifth dimension and ascension is. Uh, there have been, if you want to talk about, let's say, Atlantis, there have been many people who have, I don't know if you want to say they've done astral projection or if they've time traveled through their consciousness, who have said that that's what we're heading into again. We're heading into a golden age. We're heading into an age of cooperation, of compassion, of not utilizing technology because we are the technology, or the technology we utilize will come from nature. There won't be petroleum-based, computers and plastics and whatnot. That your computer will be a crystal, and you can tap into the energy of a crystal. Everyone will have the ability to communicate. You won't need a phone. You can just think of someone and begin a dialogue with them using telekinesis, ESP, whatever it is that you wish to call it. We've heard stories of traveling just by invoking a certain thought and moving there. Now, is that astral projection? Is that literally physically moving from one physical location to another? I can't tell you that. I have been adept at astral projection in the past, not so much anymore because I don't practice. But I don't know if that was what I would consider the idea of ascension. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start talking a little bit about alchemy. Okay, so this idea of ascension, all right, I hope I kind of like gave you some food for thought. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. Go research it for yourself, and whatever works for you is fine. That's the whole idea of what we talk about here on the Just Bernard Show. But I hope I've given you something that you can go ahead and move into looking deeper into, whether you want to look at it through quantum physics, whether you want to look at it through mythology, whether you want to look at it through New Age beliefs and mythology. I don't know. But alchemy. Now, alchemy is something very different. And I've only got about 2 more minutes here on this segment, so I'm going to kind of do a quick rundown. Maybe when we come back, I'll talk a little bit about it. But most of you probably remember alchemy from like the stories of, Merlin and Camelot, or the wizards of the Middle Ages turning lead into gold and changing, chemical compounds. As a matter of fact, if you look at things historically, alchemy was the beginning of pharmacology. and medicine and whatnot. So sadly, of course, it's been corrupted now and taken over by the corporations. But that's another show. But alchemy is a science. People say it's a fluky new wave, new agey thing, but no, the beginning of medicine stems from the basis of alchemy and transforming chemicals into new elements or other types of liquids, chemicals, minerals, whatever it is that you want to call it. For me, though, alchemy is the transcending the physical into something greater. It is turning your lead energy body into that golden energy body. It's about transforming and transmuting our spiritual self. But anyway, we're going to be running out of time in just a few seconds here. So as we get ready for the commercial, when we come back, we are going to go ahead and continue speaking about alchemy and discussing the definition of it. Also, as well, we're going to talk a little bit more about the universal alignments and how the planet energies interact with one another, as well as giving you tips and tricks on your.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Wishing everybody a very happy holiday season. Today, we are having what's left, a 90-minute discussion left to our show on alchemy, Ascension alchemy. Before the break, I was talking about what is alchemy, and again, I just want to just remind everyone that whole concept of the wizard and his little laboratory and whatnot. That's a myth. It is more than that. It is something for me in the modern world. Alchemy has come to represent the transmuting of our how shall we say, our earthly low vibratory self into something much greater, into our higher self, our higher dimensional awareness, and moving past the restrictions that are placed on us when we come to the world, as well as the restrictions that we have through the media, through family, through peers, through Wi-Fi, fluoride, all of that. It is transmuting all of that and getting past that into an awareness and a state of being that aligns with our energy. That is that when we become, how shall I say, the observer versus the player. We observe what's happening in the world. We observe the drama in our life, but we don't necessarily identify with it, if that makes sense. That's not to say that we become these cold, horrible people. If anything, I believe that as we transmute ourselves from our lower state of being, we become much more compassionate, but at the same time, by not being pulled into the day-to-day drama, the day-to-day dredge of life, or at least not identifying ourselves with it, it gives us a greater opportunity to create change. And that's pretty much what this talk is going to be all about. We do have the ability to change the way we function on the inside. And as we change the way we function on the inside, we do have the ability to change things on the outside a lot easier. It's just amazing what happens once, and even if you just are getting a glimpse of that higher being, the higher state of being, you can see how you've changed your world. You can see how you change the world of the people around you. So that for me is alchemy, and again, today is Ascension alchemy. So how do we transmute ourselves from this lower vibratory being into this higher state of awareness, this higher state of consciousness, not identifying with the day-to-day drama of life in order to create greater change within ourselves and the world around us? We're getting help. We are getting help, and I touched on it a little bit earlier. But if you've done any study, and I know a lot of people that probably listen to this radio show or have listened to my show in the past when we interviewed the members of the Dogon tribe or experts, anthropologists that have spoken on that belief system, there is the belief, especially within the Dogon and many other cultures, a lot of the Native American cultures feel the very same thing, that there is a constant energetic relationship happening with the planets, with the sun, with other galaxies. There is this constant give and take and pull and, give and receive of energy. I feel perhaps, and I don't want to simplify because that would be a mistake to simplify that that's how astrology works. But I would say astrology might be the first step in understanding this whole relationship of energy between the planets. Astrology only works with the solar system, but we have to ask ourselves and acknowledge not only the relationship or the astrology of the solar system, but the relationship and astrology of the relationships between different galaxies, the relationship with different star systems, different nebula, black holes, whatever is out there. The universe is infinite, it's expansive, and it's constantly in a state of flux. And one of the things that we've learned recently is that it's not necessarily a vacuum. That there is, I forgot what the word is, but there's some kind of energetic stuff floating around out there. I like to think that it's chi, but that's just my way of trying to simplify something that is greater than what I have the scientific knowledge for. But there is a constant, again, relationship, a constant, flux of energies going back and forth. And as we begin to have this greater awareness, this greater understanding of where we are, here we are, we're on this radio show. I'm sitting in an apartment in the mountains of Virginia. Trevor's up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it's just one tiny speck within the whole planet, within the whole solar system, within the whole galaxy, and again expanding outward into the universe. So as we understand that this is all alive, you've all seen the pictures, you've all seen the images of I believe it was recently that there was a an article that talked about the universe looking like neurons and DNA and all this stuff, and it's true. It looks like what's inside of us, but that's what's going on out there, and it goes back to that old idea of as above, so below. There is constant universal alignment going on. There is constant influences happening around us that are greater than anything, whether you want to call it the NWO, the Illuminati, or whatever. They can't do anything with that. I mean, it might be an obstacle for a little while for some people. It's not going to last much longer, and we all know that in our hearts. Um, so, with that being said, aligning with this energy, aligning with the relationships of the different star systems and whatnot is going to be very helpful in this process as we transcend from this low energy being, this low focused being, into something that is much greater and into what I like to call our infinite potential. What is our infinite potential? It's anything that you can think of. It's anything that you are willing yourself to create into yourself, into your life, whether it be healing, whether it be a new car, whether it be a new world, whether it be a way of living. So many of us are so busy thinking about the past, thinking about the immediate future of what we need to, what our responsibility is. But many of us aren't really thinking about creation. And what I mean by that is creating something for yourself. When was the last time, you daydreamed about, oh, I don't know, whether it be a better world or a better world for the planet or a better world for yourself? When was the last time you really had the opportunity to sit there and make the plan to create something bigger than what you have right now? So many of us, again, are stuck in the rut of day to day consciousness, of daily waking consciousness, of reaction consciousness. that we forget that we have the ability to get out of it at any moment. At any moment, we can say, I'm going to stop thinking about this, and we're going to talk about how we can help you with that, how I can help you with that. Getting out of that monkey mind syndrome that I call, and moving into a place of creation versus reaction. And the first thing that I suggest is developing your intuition. Many of us see intuition as, psychic mumbo jumbo, new age mumbo jumbo. But when you look at your life and look at the different examples that you've actually lived through in your own life, how many times have you thought about someone and the phone rings and it's them? How many times have you had a gut feeling about something and it happens? How many times has your body gotten nervous or gotten, clenched up when something you were about to do was going to happen, and you didn't listen, and yet you went through it and something bad did happen after all? Our body is always trying to talk to us. We are energetic beings. We are filled with chi energy. Our energy is flowing constantly. The energy is moving through us. The energy is coming into us. The energy is leaving us. We are constantly having energetic relationships with other people. We are constantly having energetic relationships with other things, whether it be trees or your home or anything that you're putting your attention to. That is an energetic relationship. Now, to develop intuition, there again, this could be a whole an entire broadcast, but I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. One of the things that I found was very important for me as I practice my intuition, as I practice developing my intuition, is well, one, you can always take some kind of course, to try to be in a better place to contact your intuition. But I think it's a lot easier than that. I don't feel that necessarily there is a magic book or a magic answer or a magic class or a magic teacher. I believe it all comes down to trusting yourself. So many times we've been trained. I mean, we really have been programmed as a species to constantly question, to constantly fear the unknown, to fear change, to fear what we don't understand. And even though our body, our gut, our mind, our spirit might be nudging us in one particular direction, we always seem to not trust that because either A, we are afraid of change, or B, we don't trust it. We don't trust our intuition. So I remember when I was studying, I guess formally studying to be a psychic and do tarot readings and all this kind of stuff. I didn't trust myself. I really didn't trust myself. I was embarrassed. I was like, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to make a fool out of myself. I can't do a reading for somebody else. I get my own readings wrong and all that stuff. And I was very lucky because a teacher, someone I had been working with, said to me, they said, you know what? Take these. They gave me a set of index cards that were empty, blank index cards, nothing, no lines, nothing. And said to me, those are your tarot cards now. So there was no picture, there was no expectation. And, for those of you that are aware of how to do a tarot reading or whatnot, there's a certain placement that you do. You lay the cards out a certain way, and each card represents something. And I was told that I needed to do the reading with blank cards, but while the placement was, as it says, if you guys know the Celtic cross spread, it's the center card is you, the cross card is the cross that you're carrying, the card above is what's on your mind, the card below is your support system, the card to the left is your past, the card to the right is your future, etc., etc. But here I am doing it with these blank cards. And I was told to keep doing it and doing it until the cards told me something, and to trust what I felt or what I saw or what I envisioned. Even if it was an image of one of the cards or something, I had to trust that. And after doing that for about 2 or 3 months, I have to say, I felt very confident. My readings were 99.9% correct. And I changed my style. I understood that being intuitive, and I think here's where a lot of us get stuck. A lot of people believe that being intuitive means being psychic or a fortune teller, or something of that, hokey pokey, fluffy stuff, which I really can't stand much of that. Intuition is being aware of the subtle energies. That's what intuition is. Intuition is being aware of the subtle changes, the subtle influences, the subtleties of life talking to you. I remember there was a saying that, again, that one of my teachers used to say to me was, "You can tell the entire future of the human species by watching how an eagle flaps his wings." And I know that's poetic, but if you understand what that means, it's like it's all a pattern. It's all a pattern. And understanding the patterns of life, understanding the cycles of life, understanding the cycles of your own thoughts, understanding the cycles of what you've created in your life, and what are the subtle differences in those particular patterns. Um, I remember slowly, years after studying and learning how to develop my intuition, going back to college in my late 20s. I went back to college and taking, I was whatever gifted person. They had me in the honor thing, and they had me in like all these math classes that I could not stand. I hated math. I hated, what was I doing? Calculus 2 or some crap like that. And my teacher said to me, he goes, "Well, you're into all that magic stuff, all that occult stuff. It's like, think of mathematics and the patterns of life." I was like, whoa, whoa, wait a second. And that really hit me, and it made a huge difference. It really helped me grasp the idea of cause and effect. It helped me to enhance my intuition and understanding the universal principles of cause and effect, understanding the subtleties of cause and effect. A plus one equals, C, whatever. I'm just giving a crazy algebra equation, but it's a simple pattern. It's a very simple pattern, and you just have to throw in the variables to come up with the answer. And that is kind of where intuition lies for me. Intuition is not necessarily a psychic thing. They talk about psychicism and all this thing as something very mysterious and outside of us. So it isn't. It's not supernatural. It's natural to who we are. When we embrace all of our senses, when we embrace all of our abilities as a human energetic being, all that mystery goes out the window. This is not a sixth or extrasensory perception. It's something that's in you already. It's nothing mystical. It's logical. It's logically a part of what you are and who you are as an energetic being. Have you been brainwashed to think of it as something evil? Of course. They don't want you to have the ability to understand intuition or to foresee circumstances before they happen. That's a part of the control grid. That's how they keep us. Well, I don't want to quote Alex Jones, but I'm going to. That's how they maintain the prison planet, making you feel less than what you truly are. And we have got to move past that. We have got to move past the idea that we are not amazing beings. We have got to get past the idea that anything that we may not understand, whether it be metaphysical or intuition wise or psychic wise or ESP wise or even magical, you know, the idea of creating change through our thoughts is not a new one. The idea of transformation by using our thoughts is not a new one. It's not the devil. That's what the Vatican and those at power want you to believe. They want you to fear it. Fear what you don't understand. Fear that you're using Satan, you know. This man-made construct to piss off the pagans is really what Satan is. But anyway, that's another show. this cartoon character of this man with horns influencing you to do evil on the planet. And don't get me wrong, we can go into the whole idea of entities and demonology and people being influenced by transdimensional stuff. Yeah, I agree that happens. This is not what I'm talking about here. Talking about the fear process that has been created for you not to want to dip your toe into your full potential, into the idea of what you can truly be. To understand that you are an energetic being. You do have intuition. Use it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think you can't trust it. Don't think that it's the devil making you do something or think something. I mean, granted, if you've got, mental issues, then you need to get some help in that particular world. But if you're basically a good, grounded person, an intelligent person, I don't see how using intuition is gonna hurt you. I think it's a matter of creating balance in your universe. We talk about creating balance between the male and the female paradigm all the time. We have both. We have divine masculine, we have divine feminine, and intuition might be considered something that would be considered divine feminine. But it does have a role in those of us that live logically. I'm a very logical person, but I also use my intuition. So don't fear it. Don't be afraid of trying something like that. And I think what's going to help with all of this is different types of meditation practices. Let me give you a quick definition of what meditation is to me. For me, meditation is slowing down the mind, acknowledging the thoughts, seeing the thoughts go by, slowing the thoughts down, finding the place between the thoughts, and then expanding that place between the thoughts, sitting in complete stillness. Now, it's ultimate meditation as far as I'm concerned. There are many, many different ways. There's contemplative meditation, there's prayer meditation, there's guided meditation, there's healing meditation. And we're going to get into all of that after the break here in just a minute or two. But basically speaking, meditation is quieting down the mind, learning how to acknowledge that your thoughts are just that, thoughts, learning to create a certain separation from the reality of those thoughts. The thought process is literally just a thought process. The more you identify with the thought, the further your connection with your higher self is, the further your connection with your true self is, because you are believing the chatter that the ego, and that's again a whole nother story, but whatever your definition of what the ego is, that's what's chattering in your brain. The ego relates to, what has happened to you, all the scary things, all the good things, and tries to, come up with some kind of image or thought or feeling. And that's what our thoughts are. Our thoughts are constantly reactionary synapses. And we're going to go into neuroplasticity as well after the break. And we're going to talk about how we can change all of this. But we're getting ready to come on a break in just a moment. So I don't want to get too much into this.
And now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Before the break, we were just getting into discussing meditation practices. Let me just quickly review a little bit about what we talked about as we move into this second hour. Basically, we talked a little bit about what the definition of ascension is, the idea that we can move into a place of infinite possibilities as human beings. Alchemy being the process of creating change within ourselves, create change outside, universal alignment, utilizing the energies and interaction relationships with the planets, the universe, galaxies, stars, whatnot. Just being aware of it, bringing your awareness to that, developing our intuition, learning to trust what our gut is telling us. Doing practices to help us to become a bit more trusting in that process of intuition, and not being so afraid that we are energetic, quote unquote psychic beings. It's very natural. It's nothing to be afraid of, and doing that, it brings me to the next step, which is meditation. Like I said before the break, meditation is the process of slowing down the thoughts, being able to observe the thoughts as they go through our head, and finding that place between the thoughts, expanding on that, and getting to that quiet place. And again, there are many different types of meditation. To me, this is just the ultimate form of meditation. It's not one that I do very often, quite honestly. I prefer doing contemplative meditation, picking either a mantra or a thought or a feeling, and just focusing on that for a certain period of time. Um, but I will say this, so many people say they don't have time for meditation or they can't meditate. And I know this sounds cliche, and I know we have the meme going around G.I.C, and it's true though. If you can breathe, you can meditate. Think about that. If you can breathe, you can meditate. And why is that? The first thing that I do when, by the way, I do teach a meditation class weekly here in the Roanoke Valley. And the first thing we do is I ask them to close their eyes, relax, and focus on the breath. That's it. Close your eyes, relax, focus on your breath. Ta-da, you're meditating. Literally, you're meditating. You have altered your state of consciousness. You have relaxed the thought process. You have changed that monkey mind, reactive mind, fear mind, worry mind, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta do stuff mind. The moment you get into that moment of now, that moment of focusing on your breath, that's all. You're meditating. Now, to take it a step further, a meditation practice would be very helpful to learn how to breathe. So many of us are breathing through our mouth. We're breathing very quickly. We're filling up our lungs most of the time. We're in a hurry, like, bringing the breath to the top of our chest and then to our shoulders, which is actually just creating more anxiety and more stress. In order to meditate correctly, you have to learn to breathe correctly. And to breathe correctly, it's very simple. It's bringing the breath in through the nose, filling the belly, the diaphragm, holding it just momentarily, and gently releasing it through your mouth, if that's what you choose to do. Now, how can you tell if you're breathing? How can you tell if you're breathing through your diaphragm? Well, if you're meditating and you're doing, as I said, you close your eyes, you're relaxing, you're taking a deep breath into your nose, put your hands on the top of your stomach. And if the top of your stomach, I just did it. If you take a deep breath, if you put your hand on top of your stomach and your hand rises, you are filling your diaphragm. If it doesn't rise, put your hand over your chest. And if your chest is rising, then you're breathing incorrectly. But the reality of it is, to meditate correctly, you want to breathe correctly. And it's a very simple practice. Just taking a deep breath in through your nose, putting your hands on your belly, and breathing in to fill your belly, and then gently releasing it, exhaling. A lot of people like to breathe in relaxation, breathe out stress, breathe in relaxation, breathe out stress. I go as far as breathing in chi energy, visualizing chi energy coming into my body, spreading through my veins, creating balance, creating cellular, regeneration. I mean, there's just many ways. We're going to get into that because that's a part of the self-healing aspect of today's talk, and we're going to talk about that. So as we move deeper into a meditative practice, there are a lot of things you can do once you understand the basics of it, which is slowing down the mind, going between the thoughts, and at least coming to this place of now, being in the now, breathing correctly. Breathing in, filling your belly. You can take it into many, many different directions, whether you would prefer to do a guided meditation. Some people One of the things that I'm best known for are my guided meditations. People love the sound of my voice telling them to, visualize a garden, of flowers. People like guided meditations. I do myself as well. That's a great way of doing it. It takes you into a place that you're not used to. But it creates a nice, a safe environment to explore your thoughts and explore your imagery and get to know creative visualization, which is a very key aspect in Ascension Alchemy. We're not going to talk about that today, unfortunately. I don't know if we're going to have time, but the guided meditations aren't very helpful with the visualization practice, helping you to feel and sense, again, subtle differences. There's Zen meditation as well. Zen meditation is pretty interesting. It's a little bit more disciplined. It's basically focusing on one thing only, and just letting everything else go by. Well, using the practice, I should say, of focusing on one thing and one thing only, and letting every other thought go around it. There's a story of these Zen monks, visualize, a I don't know if you want what do you want to call it, a Buddhist temple of all these monks, and they're rocking and they're doing their beads or whatnot, and they're meditating, and the meditation master is walking around with this big stick of bamboo, and he's whacking them on the back every few minutes, and that's to remind them to bring their thoughts back in. There's an easier way to do that, of course. You can set like an alarm clock or something like that, or just catch yourself. Zen is almost a way of a very good discipline practice of bringing yourself back to where the attention needs to be, and to take away and let everything else just flow and melt around it. That's a great exercise to do. I happen to do one here as well, very similar, not without I use a bell. Uh, but there again, there's mantra meditation, chanting. The Om Mani Padme Hum is a great one. You just keep saying it over and over. Om Mani Padme Hum, which is the mantra for compassion, or one of the mantras for compassion. There's many mantras out there. You can use words in English. A lot of times I just use the word love and just say the word love over and over in my head and just keep focusing on that. Um, but to move into just slowly a little bit to talk a little bit about the healing of meditation and contacting your higher self. What I like to do for me, and one of the most important practices that I do, and this is the one that I do daily, is I will go into that relaxing state. I'll do the deep breathing. I'll close my eyes, and I'll visualize the chi moving through the top of my head like a ball of light coming down from the heavens, moving to the top of my head, going down my neck, going through my spine, moving through my legs, moving through my arms, and then just filling, my veins, my blood, my cells, and just allowing the chi to move through me. And I am, as a Reiki practitioner, I kind of call this like Reiki energy, but it's chi. That's what Reiki is. And just letting that begin to vibrate and raising that vibration. I know that sounds funny for those of you that haven't practiced this, but all you have to do is intend to feel and sense your cells vibrating, your blood vibrating, your veins vibrating with that light moving through your body. And to me, that's a very relaxing thing. It's very healing, and just really gives me a lot of clarity and awareness. Another one that I like to do, and again, I'm going to talk about several practices. One of the other ones that I really like to do is the pineal gland activation, and it works very similar to the one I just described, allowing the light energy to move in through the top of my head and move through my body. But after it moves through my body and into my cells and into my veins, I'll bring my focus to the spot between my brow, just above my eyebrows in the center, where your third eye is. And when you bring your attention to that spot from inside your head, now mind you, your eyes are going to be closed, and you're feeling this energy move through you, and you kind of direct that energy from the inside of your skull going outward to where your third eye would be. That's the place where a Hindu person would put the dots. That's where our pineal gland is, and to begin to vibrate the pineal gland. waking it up, allowing us to use our intuition. Our pineal gland has so much garbage with between the fluoride and whatnot, that we need to give it some love. And when I meditate and I feel that energy moving into that spot in my brain, I really do feel a certain pressure there. And a lot of people say the same thing. They're going to feel a certain vibration. They're going to feel a certain pressure, almost like either pushing in, and that part of the forehead, or pushing out. But if you do this regularly, it's going to reactivate your pineal. It's going to reactivate a lot of the DMT that is naturally a part of who you are. You may eventually begin to see visions. I personally feel intoxicated after I do it. It does feel like I've done some type of illicit drug sometimes. But to vibrate that pineal gland and get it working again, it releases these wonderful, wonderful chemicals into your brain that do develop your intuition, that do help you to rejuvenate your cellular structure, that do help you to align with your higher self and to have that communication with your higher self. So, as we do these different practices, we're going to notice our life begin to change. We're going to see that the way that we think begins to change, the way that we feel begins to change, and our reaction to certain triggers around us begin to change. And there's a big study going on right now, or actually, I don't want to say it's new, but it's been around for quite a while, and many people have been talking about it quite a bit lately, and that's called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity, to synopsize what it means, it is the brain pathways. It is basically how the electrical connections from the thought go from one receptor to the other, and it eventually creates a pathway. It's literally like going into the woods and walking the same path over and over and over again. It's the same thing happens with your brain. That's how we develop habits. That's how we develop habits in the way that we think. That's how we develop negative thinking habits. Well, the same thing can be done positively, for positive thinking habits, for better reactions, for developing new pathways within our own brain. Again, it's called neuroplasticity. Check it out. It's a wonderful new, I guess you want to call it a discipline that's out there and being studied quite a bit. But by doing meditation, by developing our intuition, we begin to create new pathways in our brain. We begin to stop thinking the way that we used to think, the way that was unhealthy for us. The worry starts to fade away, melt away. The fear begins to melt away because we've learned a better way of thinking. So many of us do not want to take responsibility for the way that we think. So many of us are very reactive. We see it over and over. My goodness, if you're on Facebook, you can see how you can know how people are going to react to something you post. It's almost become comical. We see it in television. We see it with Black Friday. We see it in the grocery store. We see it in traffic. It's the same thing over and over and over again. People are in a rut in the way that they think and the way that they react, including you, including me, everyone. We all have negative pathways in our brain that we all really need to really focus on, be aware of, be brutally honest, and create a change within that. So the idea and the study of neuroplasticity helps us with that. The idea that we can create new pathways. Now, the only thing is about neuroplasticity, or to change pathways, I will say, it's the ego is so brutal. It is a dungeon master, and it will kick your butt anytime you try to think differently. It will. It will guilt you. It'll create fear. It'll create worry. The moment you do something differently, the ego is going to say to you, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that. Oh no, 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 you can't do that. No. Oh, the last time you did something like that, something bad happened." The ego is a brutal, brutal, brutal master. It's a great servant, but a terrible master, as they say. When we are creating new pathways, utilizing neuroplasticity, we need to be aware of this, and you really just need to fight through it. One of the greatest examples that you can do with neuroplasticity, and it's a very simple way just to test it out, is to, let's say you drive a certain way home from work every day. Well, instead of taking that left turn on Elm, keep going down 2 blocks. You never know what you're going to see. Instead of putting your right shoe on first in the morning, put your left shoe on. Creating conscious changes in our habits, just simple little conscious changes in our habits are going to develop new neural pathways in our brain. And as we learn to do this, it becomes a lot easier. I'm a Cancer. We love routine. I love to be comfortable in my home. I like to have the same old routine. I get up, I have my coffee, I play my Facebook game for an hour, and I start working, and then I'll go to the gym and do some editing or do this radio show or something like that till about 5 or 6. I'll have a couple drinks, I'll have dinner, and I'm in bed by 10 or 11. That's my routine. I love it. Gosh forbid anything happens to take me off that routine. But lately, as individually speaking, personally speaking, I have been opening myself up to change. I've been opening myself up to going out for drinks rather than hanging out with Trevor on Facebook and drink. I mean, on G.I.C. I have allowed myself to volunteer for more events. So, instead of going to bed or having dinner at 8, I'll go out, have dinner with friends, and then, go to an event and then come home at 11 or something. But what I'm trying to say is that, I know it's really scary when we have this certain routine, we have a certain way of thinking, and we take it very personally. And that's what's so funny. I was watching, have you all ever seen that show? And here's a great version of neuroplasticity. Have you ever seen that show? The one with Hyacinth. Oh, geez, Keeping Up Appearances. It's a PBS show from England or something like that. And I was watching it last night. I haven't watched it in about a year or so. And I was like, you know what? Let me watch it. I'm in the mood for Hyacinth. She always makes me laugh. Well, she really aggravated me last night. And she was at a potluck, I guess. And she kept this woman was laying out a salad, and she's like, "Oh, you cut your lettuce like that? It's all clumpy. Oh, is that a cake? Oh, I wouldn't make my cake like that. Oh, why would you put the forks over there? It's much easier to put them over here. That's the way I do it. 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 That's the way I do it." That's rut. That's routine. That's habit. That's not changing neural pathways. And we see that so much. We catch ourselves doing that all the time. I know I do. I mean, I catch myself. I'm like, I wouldn't wear my pants like that, or, I wouldn't wear those shoes, or something like that. Just silly things. I'm making stuff up, by the way. I haven't said that recently. But we catch ourselves in this routine. We catch ourselves in this, a rut. So by changing our habit, okay, going back to the practices, wake up tomorrow morning, put your left shoe on first. Get out of the shower, blow dry your hair before you brush your teeth. Make that right on Elm Street instead of the left, and go around the block and see where it takes you. Give yourself that extra 5 minutes to go around the block, the extra block. Just simple little things, buy a different brand of, I don't know, bread, just something. Break up the routine, create a new pathway in your brain. Neuroplasticity does work. And again, I'm giving you simple little practices because the more you do them, the greater change in pathways you can as you learn the practice. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. You'll be able to change it. Now, I wanted to talk about something called energy aerobics. People find it very strange that I bring this up. Energy aerobics is literally moving the chi through your body, directing it, pulling it, moving it. As we now, why is it important in Ascension Alchemy? Why is it important? Because it'll help you with your practices. It'll help you to heal yourself. It'll help you to heal other people. It'll help you to connect with nature's energy. It will help you to change your mood, to alter your state of consciousness. There's so much that can be said about what I call energy aerobics. It can help you stimulate your chakras without having to pay $200 to go to a chakra healer, or whatever it is that you do. Energy aerobics is the practice of one, acknowledging the chi energy that is moving through you, allowing it to come into your body, directing it through your body, and again, acknowledging the subtleties of it moving through your body. There's a wonderful, I don't even know if it's out there anymore. Actually, it's not available anymore, but there is a class that I teach called the Psychic Energy Workshop. And I don't know if the manual is out anymore. I know that the one I got was it was like a $300 manual or something like that. But it's out of print. But if you can get to one of these classes, they're amazing. It's about a 14-week course or something like that. Or if someone just does energy aerobics. I mean, I know that we do it on G.I.C. I think we have a few videos out there that you can do for free. Um, but the idea of moving energy through your body, it's very empowering. It gives you the ability to again to visualize and to become more fluent. And this is the most important thing: fluent with the subtle energies. I usually start off working with white light energy, but you can layer on different colors, different emotion. One of the things that I've learned to do, and especially with let's say a good example of this, why would I want to do energy aerobics? Well, a good example of this is, let's say you have the ability to move different color energy through your body and out of your hand, and you are able to layer on, just like a computer. You can program your own energy. You have to understand this. We are just like computers, and by intending to layer on, let's say, the emotion of calm. A great example is when I moved here to Virginia from Miami. My cat was freaked out. Freaked out, did not like it, wanted to leave, wanted to hide under the bed. She did not like living in a new place. And most animals are like that when you move. And what I did was I did the whole energy thing. I visualized the color green and I visualized the emotion of calm. And I layered that into the energy I was sending out of my hand. I laid it on my cat's midsection, and within, well, gee, a couple hours, she's out and about. She's looking out the window. She's having a good time. She's calm. She's calming down. You can use it for healing. You can use it for self healing. There are lots and lots of different applications for it, and it's nothing I can cover in 10 minutes. I apologize, but I will give you a brief exercise that you can try to do, and I think it's a great place to start. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to visualize again, let's start off with white light. Visualize this white light moving into the top of your head, moving down your neck, moving down your spine, moving down the base of your spine into both of your legs, going down your legs, going out of the base of your feet, going into the earth, and allow the light coming in from above, acknowledging and coming through your top of your head, down your spine, into your feet and into the earth. And now visualize in the base of your belly a small orb of light. Visualize in your base of your belly a small orb of light. And allow all the energy to begin to concentrate there. The chi energy, the light energy. Allow it to begin to concentrate there. And now visualize using your intention. Intend this stream of energy, a thin stream of white light energy coming from this ball, going up to your right shoulder. And now what I'd like you to do is close your thumb into your palm and make a loose fist. Your right hand, your right thumb. And with this energy going up to your right shoulder, allow it to go down your right arm and allow it to pool in your closed fist. And as you begin to feel the energy pool in your closed fist, I want you to extend your forefinger and allow the energy to go out into the ground. Now you should feel some type of a sensation on your fingertip. And again, you're extending the energy, you're sending the energy out of your fingertip. And now I want you to cut off the energy and reverse the process. In other words, draw the energy from the ground up through your fingertip, up through your arm to your shoulder, from your shoulder into that energy ball in your belly. Now slowly close your forefinger, stopping the energy flow, and kind of like rewinding a measuring tape, draw the stream of energy from your wrist to your shoulder, back from your shoulder to the ball and the base of your stomach, back in, and allow that ball of energy to dissolve. Allow it to dissolve into this white, glittery, sparkly energy moving through your stomach, through your arms, through your chest, through your legs, through your feet, through your neck, through your face, and balancing you back out. Allowing your chi energy flow to be balanced throughout your entire body and feeling revived and balanced. Just go ahead and open your eyes and think about what you felt. Was it harder to direct the energy? Was it harder to pull the energy in? Did you have different sensations? A lot of people feel different heat, cold. Would it have felt easier to extend two fingers? Would it have been easier to do it standing up? These are the types of things that you could apply into doing this. Again, this is only a first practice exercise that you could do with energy aerobics, but you can see how A, it helps you with concentration, B, it familiarizes you with the idea of chi energy, and C, it familiarizes you with the subtleties of energy moving through your body, working with your intention of directing the energy, and can become very helpful as you begin to practice this more and more and more. Again, rejuvenating your cells, healing, adding emotion, and whatnot. For those of you that have the idea that you could use it negatively, you sure can. But I'll tell you this, remember karma. Anything you put out is going to come back to you. This is how the shaman creates the setsak. The setsak is the black magic dart. Yes, you can do that, but I feel sorry for you if you do. Anyway, we're getting ready to take a short break. When we return, we're going to be talking about intention. We're going to be talking more about contacting the higher self. And
now, back to your host, Bernard Alvarez.
And welcome back to the Just Bernard Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. My name is Bernard Alvarez. You've been listening to me basically rant. No, I'm kidding. We're talking about Ascension, Alchemy. And I just want to let you know, if you're interested in finding out more about the topics that I've been speaking of today, you can always go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/justbernard, where I literally have hundreds of videos discussing these topics, multiple classes, multiple meditations, and just so much more. You can always learn more about what we're talking about here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/justbernard. Excuse me. Anyway, I can't believe we're already at the last segment of the show already. I just want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a very, very happy holiday, and wish all of my friends here at Revolution Radio, everybody behind the scenes. I know there's a lot of work that goes on. As I get to know more and more of the team here, I love them and adore them with every day that I get to talk to them and interact with them. This is an amazing, amazing project that we have going on here, and I hope that everyone continues supporting Revolution Radio and all the great work that's being done here behind the scenes. And remember, this is all volunteer. Nobody gets paid. It's just a matter of getting the information out with some really, really great hosts. And again, a really great team behind the scenes. So happy holidays to my team here at Revolution Radio. Happy holidays to all of the listeners of the Just Bernard Show. And of course, to any of the GIC members that are listening, a very, very happy holiday to you. I'll be giving you a special happy holiday message next week on the GIC.org on G.I.C. TV. And so will Trevor and everybody else associated with our team over there. But I love you guys, and thank you so much. Back to our discussion here today. We have covered so much, and again, I feel that I'm just loosely, basically doing an introduction or an overview. All of these topics, there's just so much to cover. And if anything, I hope this is just food for thought for you to continue and go on your own little journey and expand on your knowledge, dealing with whether it be developing intuition, meditation practices, neuroplasticity, alchemy, ascension, etc., etc. But one of the things that I have myself have been working on lately, and this again is one of the abilities that we have as human beings that we don't really tap into, or actually we do tap into it, but we use it for the wrong reasons. I remember somebody said to me, I take that back. There was a Facebook meme that encapsulated this in the negative sense, but we're going to talk about the positive aspect. Worrying is praying for something bad to happen. Okay? Think about that. And I have myself been a worrier. I've been anxious. I've been depressed. I've done all, been there, done that. In my youth, I was a great big worrier. Very, very, very anxious, a big Xanax popper because I was always, nervous about something, and I haven't done that in years. But the anxiety is basically worrying about something that you have no control over. And worry, if we think about it energetically, is praying for something bad to happen. If it is true, and I agree it is true, what we think we create. Our thoughts have power. Our thoughts are energy. If the universe is energetic and we are sending out thoughts of worry, fear, disaster and whatnot, are we not wishing for it? Are we not kind of creating it? Many, many, many years ago, 20 years ago now probably, I had a wonderful teacher. And I'll say his name, Rel Davis. He's a great guy. He's an author. Check him out. He was a Unitarian minister and a pagan teacher, actually, but a very, very educated man. And he said to me, he goes, "Your word is your wand. What you say does have energetic influence. Think about that." And our friend here, Kathy Bilski, here on Revolution Radio, she's a dear friend of mine. She talks about that all the time as well. What you say is creating an intention. So what I'd like to talk about today is the power of intention. What is the power of intention? This is something, again, that I've just recently started practicing, well, maybe about 6 or 7 months now, and I already feel the difference. I already see the difference. It's just amazing. And this is not the law of attraction, okay? The law of attraction, I don't know if you guys saw that movie, The Secret. It left a lot of stuff out, and it was like all based in materialism and corporatism. I didn't like that. And it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. So I really didn't really follow up with it. But the power of intention is a little bit different. The power of intention is to utilize positive word, positive thought, and releasing it on a regular basis. Now, this is not the same as the power of positive thinking or, silly things like that. Like, I always think of that TV show, Jerry Seinfeld, with the George's crazy father, serenity now, serenity now. No, this is not that. This is not forcing you to think a certain way. Yeah, yes, I'm sure what he did was very helpful. Don't get me wrong. That's kind of like using a mantra to help you alter your state of consciousness. That's great. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about the power of intention, let us say let's formulate an intention so I can better explain or share with you what I mean by this. I do a daily intention every morning. And what I do, and I try to do it before I even have my coffee when I'm still half asleep, because that way the thoughts of the day and what I have to do and whatnot doesn't kick into my brain, and my brain isn't really quite working yet. So what I do is I have some intentions listed. I keep a little intention book. I don't even think Trevor knows this. Trevor, I keep an intention book, but I keep a little notebook of intentions and I write them down. And yes, I have an intention circle. I facilitate every week, and that's why I write them down. But I look at them every morning and I'll repeat them in the morning, and I look at the nature. I live by a mountain, and I look at the mountain, and I say it, and I send it out there. But let's formulate one I can help you understand what I mean by this. When I say an intention, and I see this a lot, especially in the classes that I teach, a lot of people are like, "Well, I intend that I'm not unhappy. I intend that I don't hate my job. I intend that my wife is not a bitch. That's all fine. You can intend a better job. You can intend that your wife is nicer, but that's not the vibration of the verbiage you want to use. And that is what happens to us on a day-to-day basis. We're wishing for things negatively. I hate that. I don't want that. We do it in activism. We do it all the time. I hate the government. I want, I don't want this. I'm anti. I'm anti. I'm anti. I'm anti. Well, the power of intention doesn't work with negativity. The power of intention works with a positive phrase. So, you know what? We have a lot of activists listening. So let's use activism. I I don't want a world economic. I don't know. I don't want okay. I don't want an international banking system. I'm anti-international banking system. No, that's what you don't want. So if you're saying what you don't want, you're going to create what you don't want. What do you want? I intend a world where currency is freely available and not. Oh, wait, I'm using the word not. That's not good. See? I intend a world of currency that is controlled by the people and for the people. There we go. I intend a world where currency is controlled by the people and for the people. Notice, I'm not putting the word not the banks, not the NWO, not the Federal Reserve. I'm intending what it is I want to create. Same thing on a personal level. As you know, well, I think many of us in the nonprofit sector, we bitch about money a lot. I know I do. We're always short of $100 every month or something, and it's hard. It's really hard, and it's very frustrating. But over the last 4 or 5 months, I've learned to stop that. Stop. Stop. So now my intention when it comes to money is I have enough to spare and enough to share. I have enough to spare and enough to share. And I have to quote that by Tony Burrows. He's been on the show, by the way. And we'll have him back soon, I hope. I have enough to spare and enough to share. Not that I'm not worried about bills. I intend that, I have more money. No. What's the feeling behind it? What's the emotion? If you're creating a negative emotion with the intention, you're going to release that negative emotion. So as I say the words, I intend I have enough to spare. Immediately I'm like relieved, I'm relaxed. I intend I have enough to share. I can share and buy friends dinner. I can share, create a salary for Trevor, which God knows he deserves one. So, these types of things, the positive energy behind the word. It's learning how to phrase our thoughts correctly. We have gotten so accustomed to being reactive in our power of positive thinking, for lack of a better term, that we're not learning how to phrase the words correctly. We're not learning the vibration and the emotion behind every word that we say. So the power of intention, why am I bringing this up in this? It's because we have that ability. It's one of the many infinite possibilities that are available to us and is at our fingertips. If we have the ability to finally say and think positively and to release that energy intentionally to create something, mind you, there is that rule of, it has to be for your higher good and the good of all involved. That goes without saying if you're aware of anything dealing with Ascension and metaphysics. But if we can look at it as using and utilizing the positive power of words, the positive power of thought, the positive power of the emotion behind that. Anyone who is involved in, and I love how how a lot of people might take this negatively, but I'm not. I don't mean it that way at all. Everyone involved in magic and whatnot, whether it be witchcraft or spell casting or anything like that, one of the first things you learn is what is the emotion behind what you're creating. Now, this is the power of the word. This is the power of intention. What emotion is layered into what you're saying? So remember, you want more money, or at least you want to have enough. I love that somebody said to me a long time ago, a dear friend of ours and a member of GIC, may you always have enough. And I love the idea of I have enough to spare and enough to share. So think about that. If you want to learn more about the power of intention, look up Tony Burrows. He's got lots of books out there. There's intention circles around the world. I have one here in Roanoke. If you're local, but check it out, and I think you're going to really like that. We only have a few more minutes. I had a feeling I wasn't going to be able to cover all the topics that I have listed for today's show. So let's jump into contacting the higher self, because I feel that is probably the most important thing anyone can do in this lifetime. All right, quick definition, and forgive me for running through this. I would love to be, long-winded about this. The higher self. The higher self is your, I don't want to, how do I say it? Your bridge to the divine. It's the divine within you. It's the God, goddess within you. It's the source energy within you. It is you at your ultimate highest vibration. It is you at your ultimate infinite being and potential. So many people have called it their holy guardian angel. So many people call it source. So many people call it the God within. I just call it the higher self. It's the higher self. Edgar Casey talks about it. Look up Edgar Casey. He does a great job describing the higher self. Why is it important to contact the higher self? When we are in communication with our higher self, now, mind you, everything we talked about today is going to help you with that communication, with that contact. When we are in communication with the higher self, we are in touch with our intuition. We are at peace. We are calm. We have the infinite possibility and the potential to create new neural pathways. We have the ability to phrase our intentions and our thoughts correctly. We have the ability to move energy through it. We have the ability to heal ourselves, to feel empowered. We have ultimate potential at our fingertips. So as we connect, as we contact our higher self and develop a constant communication. A lot of people might call it channeling. A lot of the times when people are channeling, I think they're just channeling their higher self. It's that clear cut, no ego involved. Ego's been pushed aside. Clarity is there. Communication is coming through for the highest good of the self and the highest good of the people involved around them, for the world. So as we develop this communication and dialogue with our higher self, and we begin to trust it, we start aligning more with that thought process. Okay, when I say thought process, we have the ego. And don't get me wrong, the ego is a tool. It is supposed to help remind you when you're supposed to pay the bill. It is supposed to let you know when there's a fire to leave the house. That's what the ego does. It has its place. But the higher self is the true self. It is the nature of who you are on a spiritual level. It is the nature of who you are uh, in an infinite level. It's not constrictive. It's not fearful. It's not worrisome. It takes chances. It takes not only chances, but makes changes that you yourself might be afraid of. However, here's the conundrum. If the higher self, it has the guts to create that change, it's you that's really creating the change, because it is who you are. Ultimately, that's a whole philosophical discussion that we can move to another time. But as I said, as we begin to elevate our vibration, as we are in a state of constant communication with our higher self, all this inner alchemy stuff begins to happen naturally. All that we want to change within us, the way that we think, the way that we live begins to change. The way that we relate with the world around us begins to change. The way that we see, oh, I don't know what you want to call it, the negative stuff around us. I mean, I'm an activist, so I get aggravated, I get outraged, and I get pissed off. But me being angry is not going to create the change that I want because it's just spouting anger. But me looking at it and saying, I don't like this. What can we do differently? That is going to create the change. You know, think about it. As we begin to communicate with our higher selves, we get more clarity. And I feel that that is one of the most important things that we can do, especially as activists, to really work from the heart, to see beyond the immediate moment, to see beyond the reactionary aspect of what we don't like about ourselves, what we don't like about the world around us. When we are working from the place of the higher self, anger goes out the window, divisiveness goes out the window. There is no us against them, it's us. And what can we do to make this work better? The moment we start that divisiveness, somebody posted this yesterday, that's the same vibration as what we're working against, or I mean, working to change. I don't want to be angry at the government. That's what they're doing. They're blowing things up and killing people and whatnot. No, 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 no. I want to change it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to condone it. I want to condone peace. I want to condone harmony. I want to condone a better world for everyone. And how do I do that? I do that by aligning with my higher self, understanding that, yes, I have the right to be angry, and allowing that thought to move through me, allowing that thought to pass me by, for me to observe that emotion, for me to understand why I'm feeling that emotion. I am outraged at the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Absolutely, I'm outraged. But then I step back and say, you know what? Keep giving yourself rope. You're going to hang yourself any minute. That's the way I look at it. They're hanging themselves. Go ahead. Go ahead. Because eventually there will be nothing left, and we will have the ability to create a better world. Now, that's a long-term thing, and that might actually sound a little nihilistic, and I apologize for that. That's not what I meant to do. But yes, my outrage toward the TPP is quite large. I'm very upset about it. I don't like it. What do I like, though? I like that we are all getting together and saying, what can we do to change it? What can we do to change it? Instead of calling people names instead of calling them dirtbags or scumbags and going on radio shows and sounding like angry rednecks, we're saying, you know what? It's time to create change. We do not want this. We do not want to be a part of it. What can we do not to participate in this illusion? It's an illusion. It's a drama. I don't want to be in that drama. I choose not to be in that drama. That comes from the higher self. The higher self creates change. The ego cries, moans, gets outraged, gets angry. You want to change the world? Change the way you think. You want to change the way you think? Connect with your higher self. You want to connect with your higher self? Start using your intuition. Start using meditative practices. Start using the power of intention. Start understanding chi energy. Start understanding universal alignment. It's all a part of the grand picture of change. When I say they, the dark lighters are using all of this against humanity. It's time we take it back. It's time we start utilizing alchemy, ascension, intuition, meditation, energy, intention. Take this back and use it for the good of humanity once and for all. It has been kept secret for too long. We must own it. It is our birthright as a human species. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today. You were listening to Ascension Alchemy. My name is Dr. Bernard Alvarez, and I am the Empowerment Director for the Global Illumination Council, as well as the host here on the Just Bernard Show on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Just want to remind everybody that next week we will be having Mark Nepo and Carrie Joyce will be joining me here on Revolution Radio. And again, this Thursday, I have Chris Kaler joining me, an energetic healer. We'll be doing live demonstrations on our video show on G.I.C. TV at the GIC.org. I love you very, very much, everyone. And I know we're going to be wrapping things up in just a moment. And I thank you for listening. Make sure to catch us again next week here on Revolution Radio. And thank you